What's up, Facebook? Ty Crandall here with Credit Suite, and today we are talking about peer-to-peer lending. If you haven't heard of peer-to-peer lending, that's okay. Most haven't, but it's something you should, because it's one of the easiest ways to get money right now. So if you're looking to get money to get yourself through coronavirus, then this is something you need to know. You need to know how to get peer-to-peer lending, because it's one of the perfect funding vehicles, one of the perfect funding products for small business owners, especially during a recession, especially during what's going on with the coronavirus. So if you're like many, then you probably have never heard of peer-to-peer lending. Most people don't even know what this is. It kind of secretly moved itself into the funding space a few years back, and it has been taking us by storm ever since. But to give you a quick synopsis, peer-to-peer lending is a way to get money from your peers, to get money from private investors instead of banks. So as you might imagine, banking system's a little bit overwhelmed right now with what's going on. But there's this whole world of private investors that would love to invest money in businesses right now and have been investing money in businesses, and they've been doing it through what is called peer-to-peer lending platforms. So in today's training, I'm going to teach you what peer-to-peer lending is, how to get it, who offers it. I'm going to tell you which source provides the best kind of financing, so you have a new way to get money to get yourself through this new coronavirus crisis that's going on, to help you get armed with the capital that you need to actually survive. So let's talk about it. The lowdown today on peer-to-peer lending in a recession. So let's talk a little bit about this. So when we talk about peer-to-peer lending, we're basically talking about what is called a P2P, peer-to-peer platform, that basically connects you as a borrower, with potential private investors that give you money faster and cheaper than what you're going to find typically with the big banks. So the way that peer-to-peer lending works is this. Think of it like this. There's all kinds of institutions out there that want to lend you money. Mr. Derek Harper, thanks for joining me today. Alex Freeze is in here. What's up? I just watched your training last night, Derek. I love that. I was on there for a while with you. So great job, man. I love it. You're crushing it out there in the consumer credit space. Thanks for tuning in. So when it comes to peer-to-peer lending, it works like this. There are lenders that you are used to. There are big banks, Chase, Bank of America, all these big banks that are out there. Then there's what's called fintech. There's all these alternative lenders that are out there as well. People like On Deck or Seed Capital, etc. Those type of opportunities. Then there are also private investors. Now, in order to tap into private investor money, you need to type into angel investors. You need to tap into venture capitalists. You need to have to give up equity ownership in your business to get these private investors to be able to give you money. Now, years ago, we created this whole peer-to-peer world. And what peer-to-peer lending basically is it allows private individuals to invest in your business the much as into privately owned businesses, similar to what we've seen investors do with the stock market, with publicly owned companies. So if I want to invest into Amazon, if I want to invest, for example, into a publicly owned company, I can go buy stocks, I can go in and become a buyer of the stocks, and I can invest in a big publicly owned company. What peer-to-peer lending allows you to do is it allows private individuals to do this with privately owned companies like yours. It basically pools together money from individual investors and gives it to people like you as a result. So what happens is there are what are called peer-to-peer platforms. Credit Builders, Maya says, hi. Hey, man. Maya, thanks for coming in. So there are peer-to-peer platforms, and we'll talk about who these guys are. These peer-to-peer platforms connect you as the borrower with potential people that want to invest in businesses. They pool together multiple investors' money and give it to the actual borrower. So let's say you're looking for $50,000. Well, they may get $50,000 from 25 different investors. They pool it together and they lend you the money. Now, what's nice about peer-to-peer lending is it's faster to get than bank money. It's easier to get than bank money. And it's a perfect spot right now during coronavirus, because while banks are overwhelmed with lending money, peer-to-peer lending investors are not as overwhelmed. So it's a great opportunity for you to actually get the cash that you need. Okay, so bigger peer-to-peer lenders. Well, here's some of the bigger ones. Prosper, Lending Club, Upstart, Funding Circle, StreetShares, Fundrise, Peerform. We're going to talk about who all of them are. So let's talk about Prosper. Okay, loans, they have a grading scale. Now, most of these peer-to-peer lending platforms have their own grading system to determine if you should be issued money and how high of a risk that you are. Okay, now they pull Experian data, that's where they actually get this, and they're going to be able to charge a closing fee of about 0.5% to 5% depending on the grade of the actual lender. So Prosper was the original out there. Prosper was the original peer-to-peer lender, the first one that I think ever really hit the scene, and they're very, very, very big in the space. So Prosper is a platform that pulls together investors to then lend you money individually. They're one of the biggest in the space. Speaking of the biggest, let's talk about Lending Club. Now, Lending Club is the biggest peer-to-peer platform in the space. Okay, they are 45% of the entire market. So they are huge when it comes to peer-to-peer lending. They also deal with consumer and they deal with commercial loans as well. So great way to go. They deal with small, medium, and enterprise companies. They also deal with consumer loans of $1,000 to $35,000 as well. And you can get fixed rate terms for 36 up to 60 months. You can get business loans from them for $15,000 to $300,000. So again, great way to go. Jansen, the loan broker man is in with us today. Jansen, thanks for tuning in. So two great sources here, Prosper and Lending Club. Prosper and Lending Club, remember, for those that are just turning in, we're talking about peer-to-peer lending. We're talking about private investors investing money into your business through platforms that are called P2P or peer-to-peer platforms. Much easier to get than what you're typically going to get through banks. And so far, we've dove into two of the bigger ones that you need to know about. Okay, we've got, actually, I think I got my flash on here. Let me see if I can turn this flash off. Let's see if we turn my flash off. So let's go to my flash. Flash. I'm not sure how to turn flash. All right, we won't even worry about the flash today. Okay, so we got it done. All right, so Prosper. Very big in the space. Lending Club, about 45% market share in the space. Places you can go that have individual investors pooled together to lend you money. Funding Circle, okay, they're in the U.S., they're in the U.K., they're in Germany, they're in the Netherlands. Okay, they've got business loans only. They don't offer consumer loans. Loans up to $500,000, from $25,000 to $500,000, with rates of 5.5% to 28%. So some of these are lending in consumer and commercial space, like Lending Club. Some are only business loans, like we see here with Funding Circle. But three really good places to go if you're looking to get peer-to-peer money. Now remember, Derek said he just shared the post. Thank you very much, Derek. When Derek shares the post, like, people come in a landslide because there's all kinds of people that follow Derek Harper. And if you're not following Derek Harper and you have anything to do with the consumer credit space, you cray, because you need to find Derek, because he's the man for teaching anybody in the consumer credit space. Okay, and Derek, thank you for sharing and thank you for recommending everybody else shares. So peer-to-peer lending, we're pulling together for private money from private investors to give to you in one loan. Way easier to get than commercial funding, and we've talked about a few of the biggest sources in here that do it. Prosper, Lending Club, and you've got Funding Circle that only deals with B2B loan. Funding Circle to $500,000, Lending Club to $300,000. What if you're a startup? That's what Upstart exists for. Upstart is an actual peer-to-peer lending platform that helps you get money as a startup business. That is their target. Okay, so they are going to help you get money even if you are a startup. Now, 90% of their borrowers are college graduates. They love college graduates. Here's what's crazy. They have the lowest default rates across the industry thus far. Do you hear that? You just talked about a lender that specializes in startups with the lowest default rate that's out there. So when they say that startups are really high risk for business lending, Upstart doesn't think so. And if you're in the first year or so of your business, you really want to look into Upstart, because they're a great way to get the money that you actually need. Now, their loans are smaller, up to $35,000. But again, surveys show on average startups only need $10,000. Jansen's going crazy with the like and loves. If this makes sense to you guys, like this, love this, comment. Okay, those type of things help us show it to more people. Okay, and your interest is from 4 to 26%, so it depends on the grade. Let's talk about grades. So what happens with peer-to-peer lending platforms? They all have their own underwriting algorithms and systems they use. A lot of them use Experian to determine if you should be given the money or not. Remember, these aren't banks. These aren't commercial banks. These aren't regional banks. These aren't fintech lenders. These are actual private investors lending you money. So the platform, like Prosper, has their own algorithm that's used to determine your risk. Much easier to qualify for these loans than bank loans. So far we've talked about a lot of solutions. Upstart, if you're in the startup business, great peer-to-peer platform. Funding Circle only does business loans. Want personal loans? Lending Club can help you there as well. Okay, Lending Club up to $300,000 and Funding Club down to up to $500,000 or Funding Circle. StreetShares. This is for my vets like Derek Harper and I. If you are a veteran, you really want to look into StreetShares. They are founded by vets. They give vets preferential treatment as well, okay? And with them, you're able to come in and get as much as $100,000 with them on 36-month term. So if you're a vet, you need to look in StreetShares. StreetShares is a great peer-to-peer lending platform for this. Or for veterans as well. Now, Michael Lang says, I found out they're giving a $10,000 grant for the crisis when you go to SBA.gov that you don't have to pay back. That is correct. They earmarked $17 billion to set aside up to $10,000 grants that is available through the actual disaster relief program through SBA, as Michael Lang said. And as Michael said, you can go to disaster.sba.gov and you're able to get that. It's a grant money that doesn't have to be paid back. And if you're tuning in, I'm going to be talking about SBA loans and more this week that'll help you tap into even more of the financing that's available with SBA loans. Okay, so another one is Fundrise. Now, they're the best for real estate. So if you're a real estate investor, Fundrise is what you want to look into, okay? So they are a great place if you're a real estate investor to get the funds that you need. Now, there's also Peerform. Fixed rates of 6 to 30%, loans up to $25,000. You don't need any collateral as well. There's also Kiva. Okay, if I pronounced you wrong, Kiva, I am sorry, but Kiva is best for charitable investors as well. So if you're looking at you run a charity, then Kiva is a great way to go to get the financing that you need there as well. So think of it like this. In summary, peer-to-peer lending is a way for private individuals like you and I to invest in private businesses. So there's two things. One thing we haven't discussed here. You can invest as well. A lot of these have as little as $25 that you can actually invest and get started. Some are as much as $25,000. But these are all platforms that if you want a way to earn a great rate of return on your money, you can look at any of these platforms that we've talked about, and we'll go through one more time. You can invest your own private money. They use that money to invest in businesses, and you get pretty good rates of return. Here, let's look at this. So, for example, if we look at Fundrise, their historical annual returns are about 8.7 to 12%. So, on average, their investors are earning 10% on their money by you putting money in, and all you need is $500 to invest. So, there's two different things we're talking about here. You can use peer-to-peer platforms to invest in other businesses yourself and get a return. As you see here, you're getting an average of 10% return by taking as little as $500 and investing it into these platforms that's then invested into small businesses. I love that because I love to financially support small businesses. So if you want to invest in entrepreneurs and privately owned businesses and get a return, much like the stock market, but without the stocks and without the publicly traded companies, only private, you can look at these platforms, invest in as little as $500 with some, even cheaper with others, and you can actually, that money gets lent to private businesses, and then you get a great rate of return. For that example, 10%. The other option is the flip side of this. You're the borrower. And if you're a borrower, you can go to any of these peer-to-peer platforms we're going to do a summary of, and then you can go apply for money. They pool together the money of other private investors like you and I, and they pull it together to one loan and give it to you as one loan. It's fairly quick to get approved and fund. You can oftentimes get funding in as little as 2 weeks. Now, I've used Lending Club on the personal side. When I went back to Lending Club a second time, it was super simple, like 72 hours. I was approved and the money was in my bank account. First time around may take you a couple weeks, okay, maybe sooner. But if you fund with them once, to be able to get more money repetitive is much easier to be able to do. And you can get funding oftentimes in less than a week with these actual programs. easier to get than bank lending, easier to get than commercial lenders, easier to get than fintech. They use their own algorithms, which makes it easier for you to get money than you're able to get on your own. And that being said, let's take a look. Becky, what's up? I haven't talked to you in forever, Becky. I hope you're doing well. So let's take a look in summary here. There's many of them that you need to know about. Prosper, one of the originals, the original in this space. Lending Club, the biggest, 45% of the entire industry. They do personal and business loans up to $300,000. Funding Circle, they do only with businesses, and they're going to lend you up to $500,000. Upstart, they deal with startups, loans up to $35,000. StreetShares, they deal with veterans, loans up to $100,000. Okay, Fundrise and Peerform, newer in the space, but these two are two really good peer-to-peer platforms as well. And then Kiva deals with charitable investors. So again, you're doing anything with charity, you want to go here. You want to go to Fundrise if you're doing with anything with real estate. If you're confused and don't know where to go, then just give us a ring. We can talk to you more about peer-to-peer lending. We can help you get approved with all of them. You can also go to creditsuite.com/get funding. When you talk to our team works with all these lenders, so we can help decide which one works best for you and help you get peer-to-peer lending amongst many other kind of financing at creditsuite.com/get funding. You can always give us a ring, or you can always schedule a consult, 877-600-2487, creditsuite.com/consult, creditsuite.com/get funding to get approved for any of these lenders or not. I'm going to do a quick summary of this, and then I want to talk to you a little bit about SBA, because a lot's changing with SBA and something really cool become available. I'm going to talk more about it here in the weeks to come, but I want to touch upon it while you're here. Again, peer-to-peer lending, peer-to-peer platforms pull together investors, private investors, and private companies. They pull together the money from investors and give it to you. Easier to get than the commercial financing. I just did a summary of the biggest ones in the space, including the ones that will give you the most, up to $500,000, or the ones that will even help you if you're a startup, so you have a good run through as well. Remember, a lot of other financing out there as well right now. If you have collateral, if you have cash flow, if you have good credit, it opens up a lot of funding opportunities for you right now, even with the coronavirus. Don't forget, you can still build business credit and get very high limit revolving accounts. And the weeks to come, I'm going to map out more of exactly how you can do that. And don't forget about SBA disaster funding. The biggest change there, if you want kind of the updates on the EIDL, okay, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan from SBA, go check out my most recent Facebook stream, and you'll be able to find that we talked about that. I'll give you a summary of the 2 SBA funding loans you need to know more about beyond the peer-to-peer lending we covered. The EIDL, the Emergency Disaster Relief Program, loans up to $2 million, 3.75% interest, loan terms as much as 30 years. You can use the money for decreased sales, decreased revenue, increased expenses. If you've suffered from what's going on with coronavirus, you can get the SBA disaster loan. You can go right to SBA to apply. The money doesn't come from banks. It comes right from the U.S. Treasury. You can go to disaster.sba.gov, fill out their application right there, and get approved. The newest kind of funding that just came from this $2 trillion loan that just happened last Friday, here's what you need to know about that. It's called PPP. It's called Paycheck Protection Program, and here's why it's important. Okay, because with the new program through SBA, PPP, Paycheck Protection Program, you can get as much as 2.5 times the amount of your average payroll. They take your payroll for the last year, they average it out. You can be lent as much as 2.5 times that amount. Plus, the loan is no personal guarantee, no recourse, and part of it is forgivable, which means you don't have to pay it back. If you're using the money to retain payroll, for insurance expenses, to pay on existing debts, if you're using it to pay your mortgage, using it to pay your rent, using it to pay utilities, then part of that money absolutely can be forgiven. It's not even money to be paid back. It is no current way to apply and get approved, because the bill has been passed. Now SBA sets guidelines, then banks can originate these loans, and the weeks to come you can apply. If you want to be able to get approved for any funding right now, all you have to do is 2 things. Give us a ring, 877-600-2487. Schedule time, creditsuite.com/consult. Go right in to get approved at creditsuite.com/get funding, creditsuite.com/get funding. If you're doing any of these things, we can help you get approved. So in summary, let's go through this. Peer-to-peer lenders, a way for private investors to give you money through peer-to-peer platforms. Prosper, the biggest, or the original in this space. Lending Club, the biggest, loans up to $300,000. Funding Circles, business only, $500,000 loans. Upstart, loans to $35,000 out as a startup business. If you're a veteran, you want to go to StreetShares and get up to $100,000. Fundrise, if you're a private investor, they're the best to help you. Peerform and Kiva, they are two others. Kiva deals with charitable donations. Don't forget, a lot of other money available as well, including a $150,000 credit line at 0% rates for 18 months you can get right now based on consumer credit. If your FICO is 650 or higher, go to creditsuite.com/get funding to get approved, or give us a ring, 877-600-2487. We can help you get approved. And don't forget, there is some help with SBA on the way and already available. Let me see here. Travis says, I was days away from opening a new store. Anything I can do? Absolutely you can. We've got a great credit line for $150,000, 0% rates for 6 to 18 months that helps you build business credit. You can also build business credit as well. If you go to creditsuite.com/Facebook, a great guide that will help you map out the steps to build business credit. That can help your startup. Remember, if you have a 650 FICO score or higher, or family member, friend, investor that does, you can get up to $150,000 with the credit line hybrid program and build business credit. Travis, those are great options for startups right now. If you want to get approved and talk more, just simply give us a ring, 877-600-2487. And in summary, let me again remind you of the SBA programs that are available for you right now. The EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Loan, you can go to disaster.sba.gov. You're able to get approved right there. Okay, you can't go to a bank. It's only offered by the U.S. Treasury. These are loans at 3.75% for profit companies. They're going to want 1-year financials. There's a catch. You're going to have to meet SBA's normal credit requirements. Your personal credit has to be pretty good. You need to have business credit established. Sorry, it's the way that it is. I've been saying this for years. You can't get an SBA loan without business credit. If you want an SBA loan, go to disaster.sba.gov, apply, and then make sure you immediately give us a call. We can help you build your business credit while you're in the application process. But I'm telling you right now, you cannot get any kind of SBA loan, including the SBA loan with the EIDL, the Economic Injury Disaster Relief, unless you build business credit. 1-year financials, you're going to need to have good personal credit. You're going to need to have established business credit to even be able to get the EIDL. But you can go directly to disaster.sba.gov to be able to get that approved. Let me answer your questions. Any help if your credit score is below 620? Kiana, yes, you can. Peer-to-peer lenders can help you if your credit score is 620. These guys all require about 620 credit scores, what we just went over today. You can also base it on some kind of collateral. If you have account receivables, purchase orders, 401k, stocks, bonds, IRAs, equipment, inventory, any of that can be used as collateral to be able to get you financing as well. Okay. If you or a guarantor has that, or if a guarantor has a higher credit score, those are options. You can also build business credit and get very high limit revolving credit card accounts regardless of personal credit. All those are options for you based on your situation. John says, I filled out the SBA loan application online. How long should I wait to hear back from them? The good question is it's anybody's guess. I don't know. The Treasury is the one lending this money. We've never seen that before. So we have no idea how long things are going to take right now. But we're hearing you can still get that money in less than a month. Time will tell. We just don't know because money's never been lent directly from the Treasury like this before. Kiana says, no SBA loan without business credit. Good info. Yes. The SBA pulls a score called FICO SBSS, FICO Small Business Score. FICO Small Business Score looks at your business credit first, consumer credit second. In order to get an SBA loan, you have to have an SBSS score of 140 or higher. The way it is, it's mathematically impossible to have a 140 score or higher with FICO unless you've built business credit. You have to build business credit to be able to get the emergency disaster funds that are available with SBA. But don't forget, there's more help on the way. The Paycheck Protection Program, the PPP, the $2 trillion bill that was just signed into law Friday. We're waiting for SBA to pass down the guidelines, but in summary, you can get as much as 2.5 times the amount of your average payroll. Figure out your average payroll the last 12 months. You can get a loan as much as 2.5% of this, non-recourse, non-personal guarantee. Part of that will be forgivable. Part of that has to do with a certain amount of payments, like 6 payments that you're making towards utilities, that you're making towards rent, mortgages, retaining payroll, insurance. Those type of things will be forgivable under this loan. So a great way to go. I can't even tell you where to apply yet because none of that's been passed down. But I can tell you if you want any of this financing we talked about today or more, just give us a ring. We'll help you. 877-600-2487, creditsuite.com/get funding. Keep an eye out on our live streams. We are now going live on Facebook. Here's our schedule. Okay, all Eastern time. We go live at 1 o'clock on Tuesday on YouTube, 2 o'clock on Tuesday on Facebook. If you're our partner, we have secret training at 3 o'clock Eastern that only our partners are invited to. Okay. Also, beyond that, on Wednesday, typically at 11 o'clock, we go live on Facebook and 11:30 Instagram. This week, it's going to be an hour earlier than that, but that's our typical schedule. And then Thursday, we go live again. Wednesday, we typically go live at 11 o'clock on YouTube. And then Thursday, we go live at 11 o'clock on Facebook and 11:30 on Instagram. So that is our schedule. So keep an eye out for our live streams. We're going to teach you all these creative ways to get money to get through the coronavirus. Again, YouTube, Tuesday at 1 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock a.m. Eastern time on YouTube on Wednesday. And then on Tuesday at 2 o'clock p.m. we go live on Facebook. We also go live on Thursday at 11 o'clock a.m. on Facebook and 11:30 on Instagram to bring you all this kind of training. And the weeks to come, I'm going to teach you a lot of creative ways to get money for your business. I'm going to teach you everything you need to know about business credit. Together, I will help you get the capital to get through this. If you have any other questions along the way, feel free to give us a ring, 877-600-2487. 877-600-2487. You can also get approved direct at creditsuite.com/get funding. Thanks, everybody. I will see you again Thursday at 11 o'clock Eastern here on Facebook. Have a great day.